Have you ever noticed your toddler fighting bedtime even when they're clearly exhausted? Maybe you've tried every trick in the book. The perfect bedtime routine, dimmed lights, calming music, story after story, but they just won't settle down. They're rubbing their eyes, yawning, maybe even getting cranky, but the moment you mention bed, it's like you've declared war. What if I told you that sometimes the real issue isn't defiance or stubbornness? It's actually their little nervous system working against them. And there are 7 hidden reasons this keeps happening that have nothing to do with your parenting. Welcome to Parenthood Unlocked. Today we're talking about those mysterious bedtime battles, something every toddler parent faces. I'm going to walk you through 7 hidden reasons your exhausted toddler still fights sleep, and what you can actually do about each one. Ready? Let's get started. Reason number 1, the overtired nervous system. Here's something most parents don't realize. When toddlers get overtired, their bodies actually produce cortisol and adrenaline to keep them going. It's like their little system goes into survival mode, making them wired and alert even though they're exhausted. Picture this. Your toddler missed their afternoon nap, had a busy day at daycare, and by evening they're clearly tired, but suddenly seem to have a second wind. They're running around, getting silly, maybe even getting a bit hyperactive right before bedtime. That's not defiance, that's biology. This happens because an overtired brain can't easily shift into sleep mode when it's flooded with stress hormones. Reason number 2, sensory overload from the day. Toddlers are like little sponges, absorbing every sound, sight, and sensation throughout their day. By bedtime, their sensory system can be completely overwhelmed, making it impossible for them to calm down and process everything they've experienced. Think about your toddler's typical day. Bright lights at daycare, loud playgrounds, different textures, new foods, various voices and sounds. Then you bring them home, and even though your house feels calm to you, their little brain is still buzzing with all that input. Their nervous system needs time to decompress, but we often expect them to go from stimulation to sleep mode instantly. Reason number 3, fear of missing out, or FOMO. Yes, toddlers experience fear of missing out too. At this age, they're just starting to understand that life continues even when they're not there. The idea of going to sleep means missing out on whatever fun things might happen while they're unconscious. Maybe they hear you and your partner talking in the living room, or they know their older sibling gets to stay up later. In their developing minds, sleep feels like they're being excluded from the action. They might think, what if something exciting happens and I miss it? This fear becomes especially strong around 18 months to 3 years old, when their awareness of being separate from you really kicks in. Reason number 4, big emotions from earlier in the day. Toddlers don't have the emotional regulation skills to process difficult feelings as they happen. Instead, these big emotions often get stored up and released right at bedtime when their guard is down and they feel safe with you. Maybe they had a meltdown at daycare when their favorite toy was taken away, or they felt frustrated when they couldn't communicate what they wanted at lunch. Even positive but overwhelming experiences, like a fun play date or a trip to the zoo, can create big feelings that need processing. Bedtime becomes their emotional release valve, which is why you might see tears, tantrums, or resistance right when you're trying to wind down. Reason number 5, they're testing their growing independence. Around 18 months to 2 years old, toddlers start asserting their independence in every way possible. Bedtime becomes another opportunity for them to flex their I-do-it-myself muscles and see how much control they actually have. This isn't about being difficult, it's about them figuring out their place in the world. They might insist on choosing their own pajamas, reading one more story, or getting water by myself. What looks like stalling is actually them practicing autonomy. The bedtime routine becomes a power struggle because they're learning they can have opinions and preferences that are different from yours. Reason number 6, physical discomfort they can't express. Sometimes toddlers fight bedtime because something just doesn't feel right in their body, but they don't have the words or awareness to tell you what's wrong. Maybe they're getting sick but aren't showing obvious symptoms yet, or they had too much sugar earlier and their blood sugar is crashing. It could be that their room is slightly too warm, their pajamas feel scratchy, or they have growing pains in their legs that they can't identify or communicate. Even something as simple as needing to use the bathroom, but not being fully aware of the sensation yet, can make them feel restless and resistant to lying down. Reason number 7, they need more connection time with you. This one might surprise you, but sometimes bedtime resistance is actually your toddler's way of asking for more quality time with you. If they've had a busy day at daycare or you've been distracted with work and household tasks, bedtime might be the first moment you have your undivided attention. Think about it. During the bedtime routine, you're focused entirely on them. You're reading stories, singing songs, having conversations. For a toddler who's been craving connection all day, this feels amazing, and they naturally want to extend it. The one more story requests or I need water requests aren't just stalling tactics. They're often genuine attempts to get a few more minutes of that precious one-on-one time with their favorite person. Now that you know these 7 hidden reasons your exhausted toddler still fights bedtime, let's talk about what you can do when bedtime battles happen. The good news is, there are simple ways to work with your toddler's developing brain and body instead of against them. First, create a wind-down bridge. That's 30 to 45 minutes before bedtime where you dim the lights, lower your voice, and do calming activities. This gives their overstimulated nervous system time to decompress naturally. For the fear of missing out issue, try narrating what's happening after bedtime. After you go to sleep, Mommy and Daddy are going to clean up the kitchen, and then we'll go to sleep too. Nothing exciting will happen. This reassurance helps ease their fear of missing out. When they're seeking connection, build in 10 to 15 minutes of special one-on-one time earlier in your routine, maybe a cuddle session or quiet chat about their day. This fills their connection cup before you start the actual bedtime process. And here's a game changer. Give them some control by offering simple choices throughout the routine. Would you like to brush teeth first or put on pajamas first? This satisfies their need for independence without derailing bedtime. Remember, every toddler is different, but learning to recognize these hidden reasons can make a big difference in reducing bedtime battles and helping your little one feel understood instead of frustrated. If you have your own tips about toddler bedtime struggles, I'd love to hear them. Drop a comment below and share what works for your family. Sometimes the best solutions come from parents helping parents. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Parenthood Unlocked for more practical parenting tips that actually work with your toddler's development, not against it. Thanks for watching, and here's to more peaceful bedtimes.